Meet Vain Matthew. Vain Matthew is obsessed with video games, Dungeons and Dragons, and what? Now meet Humble Matthew. Humble Matthew is obsessed with building houses, helping people, and that kind of stuff. Does he play Dungeons and Dragons? Sometimes, yes. But that's not what he is obsessed over. He is obsessed over things that can benefit the people around him. So a while ago I made that video titled I am autistic and I like trains, because it was a way for me to kind of try to accept who I am. And I got the question, why are all autistic people obsessed over trains or something? And the short answer is I don't know. Why do I like trains? Now, I am not obsessed over trains, but the things I like about trains personally is, first of all, the art potential in the art stations, which is something I have already touched on, but it's also because it's currently December, and trains are an interest I usually get around December because I kind of associate trains with the Christmas spirit, because you know, the Polar Express. But the things I am mostly obsessed over, and if I have to say like things that are like obscure interests, that I have like bizarre fixations or obsessions over, it would be, for example, top 10 lists, and you can thank Watch Mojo for that. I don't really watch Mojo right now, no pun intended, because I don't have a lot of time. I have a quite busy schedule, but especially during the pandemic, when I had nothing better to do, I ate that shit. I watched Mojo. I watched a lot of them, and I watched a lot of similar videos and similar top 10 lists, and I fell in love with top 10 lists because there is so much potential for like debating. You can be like, oh, I don't agree with this placement, oh, why is this only at number 10? You can have so much discussions. And another thing I am interested in is cartoons and TV. Once again, I don't watch that much cartoons and TV right now because I am not very available to do that. I don't have enough time. But during the pandemic, I watched a lot of TV and a lot of cartoons. And also, another thing that I have like some kind of obsession over is like making sex jokes. Like, whenever there's someone who has a lot of kids, my first reaction is literally, that person must have had a lot of fun in the bedroom. And I know that sometimes you have to be more discreet. Like sometimes when I am with like in a more kind of professional setting and I try to be more discreet, I am like, oh, so those are the things that make this person happy. This person is passionate about, well, games. Games make this person happy, developing games. But this person also has children, so maybe there's something else that makes this person happy. Obviously the joke here is something bedroom related, but I don't say that out loud. But the reason why I like have this like obsession over the concept of sex is because I think it is important. Like, this is literally how we all get created, and so I think people should talk more about it. And so I try to be kind of quirky by trying to talk as much about it as possible. But I think the more important question here is, why do autistic people have fixations or obsessions over certain things? And the short answer would be, because we can. Why do we think about, I guess, top 10 lists or something all the time? Well, because we can. Why aren't you thinking about top 10 lists all the time? And I know what you are thinking. Like, there are so many things you can think about. Why are you choosing to always think about the same specific thing of all the things you can think about? And I think the longer and more complex answer you need is that, like, first of all, we all have our trains. I am not as obsessed over trains as I am in top 10 lists, for example, or in cartoons. But what you have to understand is that what to most people are just silly cartoons or silly top 10 lists or silly trains or silly whatever. To someone like me, it holds a way more special place and heart. To me, it is way more than just a silly cartoon. Have you heard the term defined our childhood? Because this is how I feel about the things I am fixated over. Like, when I was a kid, I grew up watching a lot of TV, a lot of movies and TV series, and this defined my childhood, so it holds a special place in my heart. And because some of the things are so special to us, this is why we keep thinking about them, because they are so special to us. But I realized that maybe the reason why trains or whatever, the things we are obsessed over, why they have such an importance over our lives and not over other people's lives, is because we keep thinking about it. We keep thinking about the same thing, and therefore the same thing kind of becomes my reality. It becomes like part of my life, part of my everyday life, thinking about this object, which is why this object becomes so special to me. It like plays a significant role in my life, which then leads to me thinking about the same thing even more. And I think this is how fixations work in general. It becomes like a domino effect. This is what I believe. And so to us, those things have a special place in our heart. I hope you can understand that. But I think the better question here is, can fixations and obsessions be good? Because I feel like a lot of people view like autistic fixations and obsessions as a bad thing. But I personally think it depends. Like, we have all heard this stereotype of like weebs, or as they are called in Japanese, otaku, like the ones who grew up watching anime, their whole life revolves around anime, and they are confined within their mom's basement. And in that case, it's like, yeah, I can understand that anime has a special place in their heart, because anime is what defined their childhood. And so anime brings them a lot of joy. But the problem here is that as soon as those people realize that they are like the only people in the world who are obsessed over anime, and that no one else can relate to their joy, that's when they start feeling lonely and miserable, and they no longer have that joy, and this like short happiness gets replaced with long unhappiness. And so the problem here is that with things like this, like, they are not very useful in society. Like, if you're gonna be an anime creator, maybe this is good, but if you're just obsessed over anime for the sake of it, you're probably not gonna have a job that you are passionate about, because the only thing you are passionate about would be anime, unless you have a job that is anime related. And I think that can be a problem with fixations and obsessions. However, if you use your fixation or obsession productively, and you transform your obsession into giving value to others, then I think obsessions can be good. And one prime example is with that creator of Pokemon. Like, basically, he had an autistic obsession over bugs, like when he was a kid. And so he decided to actually make something productive out of that. And so he made a TV series revolving around bugs. And that would then evolve to become one of the most successful anime in history. And so nowadays, for example, I have recently developed an obsession over languages, especially the difficult languages. And this is because I believe that with languages you can give so much value to people. There are so many job opportunities. You open so many doors when you are good at languages, which is why I currently choose to have an obsession over languages. But then I have realized that when I had an obsession with the cartoons, like that is slowly dying down because, yeah, I wanted to entertain people the same way I was entertained by cartoons, but the problem was that apparently I was not very entertaining according to the success or rather lack of success that my old videos on this channel that are now on a privated list that they have created. And so now I try to be obsessed over more productive, more relevant, important things. And the reason why I choose to be obsessed over them is because, once again, it's things that play a special place in my heart. The reason why I am obsessed currently over difficult languages is from a top 10 list. It's because I have seen some top 10 hardest languages. It all comes from top 10 lists! But I have realized that with languages you can do productive stuff in society. What kind of sound is that?